Recorded February 24th, 2025. Good afternoon, Ray. Good afternoon, Brody. How's everyone doing?
Awesome. No complaints. Well, my little girl got sick over the weekend and she threw up on me at the doctor's office, but she's on the mend. So that's all I'm grateful for. I was able to get some capstone work done. She kind of like zonked out with her medicine, poor thing. But yeah, I couldn't ask for anything more. So feeling very blessed. And we're having our Defender Experts webinar this Thursday. So all good stuff. It's always an adventure, but again, it's good to be able to be on the other side of it. So that's it for me. Hopefully other folks had more of an exciting whirlwind of a weekend.
What about
less
you, bro?
whirlwind and more just not work?
Fair.
I was told, I just happy that I had a weekend off, to be honest with you. But chat says they're wishing your little person full recovery. So that's great, Ray. Yeah, it was basically weather improved about plus 25 degrees in 3 days. And so all the snow is melting in the city. My backyard is now revealing the amount of dog waste I need to pick up.
Oh my God.
It was basically, when it snows consistently every morning, you can't get out there, you're not going to find anything. And then, so anyway, I digress. Dog ownership stuff. Other than that, I took my little girl to gymnastics class. We go every Sunday. That was adorable. And honestly, just tried to be outside and away from the screen as much as I could, because like last week was just like 10-hour days, constant shenanigans, and driving value for our customers, securing our communities, right? So it was good times. It's good times overall. Edward, how about you? How was your weekend?
It was fair. If I'm complaining and whining, it was cold yesterday. We had a big event with my nonprofit yesterday in the United States. A significant day. If you're familiar with Ahmaud Arbery and his unfortunate murder, that happened 5 years ago. We celebrated that young man's memory. So had about 350 people out yesterday in the Unity Run with local run groups and everything and charities. It's an all-day event. So I got started yesterday around 7 in the morning and finished about 7 in the evening, about time everything was done, and television stuff and interviews and, shake hands. A lot of course, politicians like to come out and take advantage of the, whatever. Other than that, man, it was good. The weather here was cold, relatively speaking. Today is a temporal difference of about 25 degrees. So now we're into the 60s and I can get back outside. It's great. It's nice, sunny and good. Did a little bit of tech stuff, mostly reading. I'm doing the Ray thing here. I'm trying to take a bunch of classes and I piled on too many things at one time. So now I'm committed to them because they have timelines. I'm trying my hands at another SANS course.
Oh, look at you.
Not as difficult as the first one. Shout out to you, Frank Grimberg, for making me feel bad. I got it. You were right, though. You're right. So,
you should show stock in SANS at this point. You support them so much. You should be an investor.
Oh, man. Frank doesn't need our money. I promise you that. Well, anyway, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Oh, I did a couple cool things. First of all, my apologies to Noodle for having to cancel our meeting on Friday because I got pulled in something else. So Noodle and I are going to do some Sentinel Cribble nerdy stuff together. He's going to show me a few things, as well as I'm working on something that's a stretch project that I may pull Noodle in. It's actually pretty cool. Got sort of permission from the powers that be to move forward with it. There'll be a paper on it. We'll see how that goes.
Paper?
Yeah, man. Gotta write a paper. Then everybody gets to look at it and tell you how bad it is, and you send it out. And by the time they get it out, the paper is irrelevant. So we'll see how that goes. So for our listeners who probably have noticed, Rod is not here. He is a slacker in the worst sort of way.
You're
No,
right. He's not here. I didn't even know.
didn't know Rod was not here. Right there, you go. Rod is out doing the things that people that celebrate years upon years of marriage, they do it. They go back and reconfirm their commitment. So he's out doing his thing with the missus. Plus, he's actually working. He will be at the experts in Copenhagen. He will be the friend of the show's event, Morton, and he'll be out there with Henrik. And so he's out there representing the Microsoft Security Insights Pod Showcast. And he'll be back here when he gets back. He's on sabbatical. Here you go. He's on sabbatical from the show. We do have a guest lineup for Devay. He is coming on to talk incident response in relationship to M365. So he'll probably join a little bit into the show. But did you do anything geeky over the last week? Any techie stuff? Did you break anything?
I'm looking at how you properly build a malware detonation environment aligning to the cloud adoption framework and Azure Landing Zone best practices for a government customer. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, without even knowing the details, I got 3 things jumped in my mind that will be roadblocks, especially if they're in certain type of clouds.
This is actually a very interesting point because the US Gov Cloud is not 100% aligned with commercial services because of authority to operate, etc. And that is a consideration for US Gov individuals. But luckily, Canada, which, by the way, destroyed the United States at hockey and are the reigning hockey champions of the world, as proven by last week. Unbelievable goal. Connor McDavid. You suck, USA. Canada wins. Canada is too small for its own Gov Cloud. And so it uses commercial. And so it's actually easier.
First of all, I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy. You know, I am a sideline, semi-involved hockey fan. So let me put context to what he said. The NHL had done something phenomenal because the NBA, the NFL, when they try to do these all-star events, they suck. They sucked for years. But the NHL saw the writing, and they're very innovative. And they said, hey, how about we not do this? And they did something called the Four Nations. And they chose 4 different countries to come in and play. I watched. I was interested in Canada because the U.S. played Canada in the first game and destroyed them. Oh, the gloves dropped 4 seconds into the match.
3 fights in 9 seconds was the most amazing start to any international
But this time,
event
a little
ever.
bit, and then the skill. If you ever want to see what a truly rounded, skilled, world-class athlete is, watch an elite hockey player. It's amazing. Guys are so fast. Their endurance, they all of them can probably go and qualify for some Olympic event in running. They're just that good, right? And so, yeah, they won the 4 nations, right? It was the U.S., Canada. Come on, bro, you're the hockey guy. Finland.
Oh, you were the one talking. You set the stage, Edward.
We're giving the last one. I gave you 3.
It's Sweden and Finland. I'm aware of. Yeah, Sweden and Finland.
A lot of
Russia doesn't
said,
count because they're a bunch of cheating jerks. Yeah, and
a lot of people say, is it really if Russia wasn't there and some of the play? But the crazy part about it, a lot of Russian players still participated on the relative teams that they ran, especially the U.S. Right? U.S. has Russian players. Some of them were playing. I believe that's the case. But it's a good thing. The other sports can do it. Yeah, man, I actually got deep into that thing you're talking about with the detonation. I'll let you hear more about it. I have an idea. Because I had
I'll do you one better. Never mind ideas. There's whole landing zones that are on GitHub repos that I was just made aware of today. And I'm going to drop some of those in the chat. We'll put them in the show notes. We've got the mission landing zone GitHub repo. And that is a highly opinionated IAC template. IT oversight organizations can use this template as a cloud management system to deploy Azure environments for their workloads and teams, and this solution addresses a narrowly scoped specific need to be secure cloud computing architecture compliant, right? So it's designed for US government mission customers and follows Microsoft's SACA and Zero Trust guidance. Just found out about that about an hour and a half ago. That's in the chat. And then additionally, I also found out about the AVD accelerator, which is also now in the chat. And that's more focused on Azure Virtual Desktop design aspects solely. And the reason why a colleague of mine needed to proceed down the route of the AVD accelerator baseline is because they had some specific requirements that were not available in the US Gov Cloud. And so instead of using Azure Bastion, they went with AVD. And so they leveraged these landing zone templates and patterns, right, to help design their use case for the US Gov customer. And I'm working with a Canadian Gov customer, so that's going to be the commercial tenant. So we're going to have slightly less restrictions. But I just found all this about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. So I need time to look at all of it. But there's a really interesting architectural diagrams in those links and information that I just had no idea existed before 2 hours ago. So check it out.
It's pretty cool. It just drives me bananas when people say we need somewhere to detonate. He's saying you need a research environment, to be able to do these things. But if detonation is the word, seems to still stick. Like, I'm not detonating anything. I don't care what environment it's in, right? I need to see what's going on.
But it sounds cool.
It sounds
detonation environment sounds way cooler than a research environment,
Yeah. I have a question before we get going into this and give our guests a little bit more time to join. This was put in. Question for the Microsoft Security Insight scenario. Rogue admin type in new U.S. agency doing shifty admin data scenarios. How would you suggest protect government data from a rogue admin who has legit access in the Gov Cloud? Wonder what he's getting at. My mind says if you're talking about a certain scenario and things that are happening in the States, and something else says he's talking about that. I don't know. Use Microsoft Purview.
You need a variety of zero trust layered defense controls to manage a malicious insider with privileged rights. One of which being Purview controls. Yes.
And privileged identity management, a privileged access workstation, recension of security clearances. Here live what's going on. I don't know.
But all that can't happen in the moment, right? Like they don't know they are bad until bad things have happened.
It's a pivot moment being able to do it. Now, if you're really talking about
access, insider risk, PIM.
You need some two-person control, whereas no one person can have unilateral access without someone having dual access at the same time. We should do something similar in the military. That your access was pinned to someone else having the same amount of access and who's active at the same time. So there was no way that if you decide you want to work after hours and that person who's tied to your hip, technology-wise, would have to work at the same time. So there was no way that, unless you were in cahoots, now you're talking about insider risk, right? But you get where I'm coming from. That'd be a cool technology, though. But we have this, we put the right controls in between multi-factor, privileged identity, escalation management, and numerous other tools. I find that a lot of companies, there really isn't an excuse from a technology-wise. I think the biggest thing that hampered people, and this, is resources. There's just not enough time in the day, right? And then you look at, is there a real resource deficit where you can't find the people to do it? And, with the business of the business doing the business, it's just not time of the day to get the stuff prioritized. And then something bad happens, bad being relative. You choose your definition of bad. Now, all of a sudden, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And now you come in, now we need time to put these controls in and everything else. If you really told people that if your environment, in my opinion, was breached and can no longer be trusted, regardless of what incident response and sanitation element you bring in, it had to be destroyed and done over, you'd watch people have more prioritization of how they do. I've seen that happen. The people that did it's a public record. It happened at MGM. You cannot trust that network. It's just done. No matter who you bring in, zero it out. You can't trust the firmware anymore. That way you can write the chips. Well, you know, right? So that's what's going on.
That's the beauty, and it's almost like it makes it all. I think it makes security conceptually easier when you just inherently don't trust anything by default. It's just like oh, but what if? But like we should keep these people out of X if we have Y. It's like nah. I mean, you could put it in. There's no guarantee. It's definitely another layer, and only through like a robust layered approach that's specific to your sector, use cases, and threat actors, then even then someone could come on in. You never know. So you have to, like, that's the beauty and the pain of working in security is you never have 100% assurance.
Or working in, yeah, it's good. You can tell we're talking about tech. You're starting to see business, and a lot of our listeners can probably get this. We're going to talk about how business needs to not be abstract from cybersecurity. You're finding myself in a course, Power BI, dashboard in a day, more ingrained into security than you know. Because what I'm starting to see now is that, and we talked about this in the show almost 3 years ago in giving points, either directly between the host and or guests that come on. Security now, and this is just going to seem crazy in the time the thing is going on here. Security now has to justify its effectiveness. You have to show that you are providing impact to the environment without the environment being impacted. You don't get to show value in the resistance of an attempted breach, the discovery of the breach. They want to see the ongoing, is the investment worth the risk? So they're evaluating the input of investment into your security program. So now you start to see a lot of people pivot over to some type of reporting, right? Beyond telling someone to log into the actual management platform or administration platform. You're not going to give your C-level people access to your defendant platform, your SIM, your EDR. You would have to pull these reports. Now, Power BI is more powerful than I really realized that I don't operate in that world. But now I'm in this course, have to take this partner that's doing it. It's a Microsoft thing. I think it's, I'm not going to have time to say the name, but and I'm also learning Microsoft Fabric, and it's powerful. And so probably in a couple of months, we're going to have a show maybe on talking about the business reporting of your cybersecurity program and its effectiveness. We generally focus on it talking about how many people clicked on a phishing email or someone did this. That standard is going away. That is low-hanging fruit. That is the ante to play in. You're now starting to see CISOs have to come in and say, how does this make me safer than what I was for this amount of investment that I have? And you don't want to be the person that says the value is we won't get hacked again by this particular exploit. That's not the conversation. You have to now go out and start pulling data in and look at your environment and similar environments and their risk factors and how you can mitigate or you can reduce that risk factor, but not have to spend the same money. And is that in process? Is that in technology? Is that in education? And I think the education has always been geared toward the end user. You need to educate your security practitioners, because what has happened, you're starting to see people say that the security practitioners have become nothing more than security admins. There's so much in the day-to-day now. You don't get to threat hunt. You don't get to do the DEX stuff, right? That allows you to be proactive in your threat hunting. So big shout out to Ray. Her thing is Thursday. I think it's called STAR. Ray, is it called STAR?
Yeah, it's our STAR forum. Yep.
All right. So the STAR thing is coming on. If you want to throw it in the show notes so we can put it in there. Someone said,
what is that? Tell us about it.
Strategies for threat awareness and response. So it's anti-sales, anti-marketing, specifically designed that way because many of our customers have requested, just like, can we have, they wanted to pay additional like whatever it was to get time alone with 100 analysts to have like focused knowledge transfers, even though we have capabilities as part of the services where it's called Experts on Demand. You can ask questions, have a back and forth exchange, or you can spin up real-time chats and do a deep dive on incidents or any of those questions, threat intel, threat advisory, etc. People wanted essentially like a Khan Academy experience, and we're like, okay, well, you don't have to pay anything additional. We're going to spin something up. And so we created this public facing series, and it's led essentially by the actual folks that are the defender experts. So the threat hunters, researchers, analysts, the folks that, built up a DART detection and response team, our first party Microsoft incident response, who've come over to build up defender experts. These are the individuals that are providing the presentation, like the deep dive on tales from the trenches, what they've seen so far, what's something to keep top of mind, and really helping to educate and equip the attendees with actionable skills they can take and apply same day, right? So that's the focus. That's the point of it. It's not. I love the sales folks, but this is not. It's not. We're not selling the service. It really is knowledge transfer, because the people that are providing that peace of mind, the actual defender experts, are very passionate about what they do. Many of them have their own. They're like, they're social media influencers, thought leaders in the industry. They have their own assets that they create, their own educational resources. So it really is about helping others develop and refine their defender mindset. So that is the focus of it. And our second episode is this Thursday, and I can share the link so that it's available to the community.
Please put it in there. Big shout out to Samantha Gardner. I got to talk to her last week. Rod and I were talking to her, and we'll debut it here. That plugin that was created, that was highly debuted at the Ignite, is getting a facelift. So it's going to be updated here pretty soon. And there are a couple other things that we pour Rod in with his infinite amount of connections to make that plugin super official. One thing you'll notice that when you use the
I would say, so Sam is co-lead of the Defender Experts Star webinar series, and she is brilliant. She should be everywhere, and I hope the powers that be at Microsoft, but she refuses. But I think she is the next big thing in front of that. She likes to operate behind the scenes, but she needs to be in every scenario, leading the Microsoft mission, representing it strongly. And I would say, if we're doing anything from a plugin to enhancing any service capabilities, I know our PG, our product group, is leading that conversation as well, because I just know, and I know that me and Sam, we're lockstep, and I know that's her expectation. That is how we roll. So Ravi, if you're listening, we know that's just a shout out, just in case, because we the Secure Future Initiative, SFI, we wholeheartedly support that. We lead with that. So not only is it one Microsoft, it is SFI, and that is imbued in everything that we do. So if anything is going live, if anything is being improved, I know our PG is spearheading that.
Yeah,
nice.
Ray's out there politicking. I get it. You're absolutely right on point with that. Yeah, it's interesting, the advancement and how much that plugin inside Security Copilot has taken off and just empowered a lot of things. So it's really making the persona and the reputation and the celebrity of defender experts take off. So now you're starting to really see it. If you haven't used it and you are using Security Copilot in some form or fashion, you probably want to deploy that plugin inside of your Security Copilot environment and look at what the hunters do. It is fascinating to understand how very pointed they have to be, but at the same time, how creative they have to be in their threat hunting, as well as their incident response. I actually threw it in my lab. One of these shows where Rod and I are going to showcase our labs. We spent a lot of time building out a dual lab. We really wanted to get it super put together. And that way we have something that we can really beat up on and show it to our listeners. And if it breaks, it's ours. So we don't have to worry about using somebody else's lab, and you can't make a change here. You don't have rights. So stay tuned for that. We got some really cool stuff. Rod is shaming and writing his blog because I actually surprised him and surprised myself. I showed him something he didn't know. Everybody said, "How'd you do that?" That's like, So then I told him, "Look, I lucked upon this." I said, "I wanted you to confirm. Am I seeing what I'm seeing?" And then he said, "We should write a blog on it." So I started writing on it, but I got to get all the screenshots and put in. It's interesting to our listeners who are highly engaged with any Copilot type, as well if you're just using regenerative AI. But it's an Azure, Microsoft focused thing that we've been working on. We're almost done with it. I just want to read. So it's not one of those things that, like I said, I looked upon when I found it. I blew it all the way, reconstructed and started from scratch, and I was able to reproduce the same results. I'm like, it's in this thing. Now I had to come up with why would you do such a thing, right? So I don't want to give it away, but it got his attention. We actually went down and wrote it through, and it's actually pretty cool. Also, another video series that's coming out called Defender Experts. Oh, no, that's not right. Security Copilot, the deep dive. So friend of the show and guest on the show and co-host on the show, Eric Snyder and I were working on a series of internal videos. So we did our little video, and then we're talking about one of many series that's going to come out that's going to be published about Security Copilot. So we're going to take you from the initial steps on how to, set it up all the way to advanced things. And I think we're like the first one in the show. So we'll get all that stuff out. We have to wait until the official marketing people have put their swing on. So we did that also. One other thing, I don't know if I showed this on here, a book by Damien Van Robies, got one in the mail. It's maybe been free. It's a compliment to Must Learn KQL. So if you're not seeing this, it is Learn KQL in 1 month. So when I saw it, I thought it was like the other books that say learn something a month in lunches. It's actually not bad. Lots of labs in it.
Can you hold it still for 5 seconds? Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's the author on the back.
What's the author's name?
Is Damien Van Robies. And there is and I go to the glasses that they say on Pardon the Interruption. About the author, he gives it to it, and the guy shouts out Workplace Ninja France Group and Ross name in here somewhere in the show. One of these pages. Let's see here. That's on one of these pages. But yeah,
have you read the book at all?
It's a thin read too.
Yeah.
So you can actually set up in your lab. You want to get down and dirty with KQL. You can get this book completed if you don't have a permanent tenant, like getting an Azure Pass or a 30-day thing. It does say in 1 month, so obviously you could get it done in 1 month. I found some interesting stuff in it. Plus, I like paper. You can find all the stuff online, but I like it's excellent. I like the paper.
Cool. So you would recommend it?
I would recommend it. And it's on Amazon. I'm like, I got it. Maybe I asked for it and it came. It's so odd. Maybe I'm just old. People don't put the price of their books on the books anymore.
They don't put a price. How do I buy it if there's no price? Oh, you mean on the book itself?
Yeah. There's no price on it.
It's because tariffs. They don't know.
We have not had him on the show. He is a 7-time Microsoft MVP.
Whoa!
In 2 categories.
7 more times than me.
Cloud and data center management for PowerShell. And enterprise mobility, which I knew of him from his Intune prowess. But really, really decent book here. Add this to Must Learn KQL from Mr. Rod and Trent. And you got yourself a nice little build of a library here. And I think there's a Rata at the back where you can just go to the link and grab it. But I want to get that out. So the book came. Appreciate whoever got it to me. I don't know if I showed it before. I pulled it out the other day, and I was just thumbing through it. And I did a couple of exercises. You never know all the stuff. Create join tables. Join project away. Join tables with the lookup. External stuff with external data. So pretty good on that. We did have a question from Tip 8472 about the Purview comment I made. I was just sort of making it tongue in cheek. Purview parity in a gov, I'm not sure. I know in commercial, that's not my specialty. That's the compliance GBBs, but I'm not sure the parity between commercial and gov is there. But he asked a question, and I guess I'll put it right here. So does Purview have more in-depth or higher security, i.e. baselines, encryption, regulatory, and gov type? That question I can't quantify because it does something totally different from what my primary skill set is, what Ray's is. Brody would be closest to this, because it's in that line of compliance, data integrity, data sovereignty. I wouldn't say it had higher security baselines. It has different baselines. Like take the data and then you put the things against the data. Like if this is the data, now you ask the data who, what, when, where, how long, and what you're doing with it, right?
Yeah.
That's how I would explain it. Bro, you want to give me a little bit more on that?
It's I answered it in the chat. It's the same feature set. It just depends on if the GovCloud has that capability in it. And that's the parity question that I don't have an answer on either. There's a bajillion things, and there could be less than a bajillion available to the US GovCloud, but it's the same solution in commercial or gov. It's just how you implement it. So there's highly secure organizations in commercial, right? Like banks and critical infrastructure, and there's no, when it comes to under the hood, there's no effective difference, right? It's really just comes down to the compliance requirements that you have. But technically, It's the same stuff. Are you locking something down? Are you encrypting? Are you preventing access? Are you allowing access? And then how are you proving that, right? So, yeah.
Through that. So let me see if I can show one thing here. Let me make sure I don't show anything I shouldn't be showing. And I'm actually spending more time playing around with Microsoft Purview, right? Once again, not my kung fu, but I can't tell if that was a chicken being tortured or a Kai exclamation when you execute a move. I'm not sure yet. Oh my God. Let's not do that. So for those who are probably saying, well, what are you talking about here with Microsoft Purview? Let's do this. Let's go present. And then share screen. And then you look at which one you want to share. And you see it. And so when you're looking at, Purview, this is Microsoft's, data compliance and governance solution. It will make you think that it is a E5 solution or workload. Now, I think everything runs in the cloud, but specifically, this is an Azure-powered workload, meaning when you provision this, you're provisioning this in Azure, right? And then your connections to different type of data governance and solutions are tied into what I would say, what modules or what solutions you're deploying inside of it. So you can see you could data map, unified catalog, information protection, probably going to be, low key what we talk about majority in what I deem my deepest part of it. Everybody's doing DLP. Insider risk is becoming a really big thing. You can look at a lot of things now, and everybody's an adversary until they prove themselves otherwise. That's what you said, Brody. Don't trust anybody, right? Everybody's an adversary until you prove otherwise. Then DSPM for all. So if you like looking at your Copilot and you have Copilot deployed out through your environment, Purview is your friend because you really need to understand not only what the users are doing with the data, but what is that AI doing with that data or having access to that data. And so if you look at all the solutions here, you can now come in, you can see things like audit, data mapping, obviously the settings, workflows, repeatable processes, record management, e-discovery. Now, the old name of this used to be called Microsoft Information Protection and Compliance Manager. Now everything's up under the purview of Purview. See, I did that. And data governance. One of the things I'm being asked about a lot is the unified audit log. Can I use things like Sentinel, advanced hunting to be able to get access to understand how this data can be used for a person that does a lot of threat intelligence like myself? So you can, and there's lots of good articles called the UAL, the Unified Audit Log. You have to go into a lot of these Microsoft workloads and be deliberate in giving access to that. Now, one thing I like seeing in this is that since Copilot AI seems to be the thing that's taking the air out of the room, you can look at stuff with a glance and see if it's Copilot aware. So you see communications compliance, capture inappropriate messages to help reduce communication risk in that. This is the HR tool. And this is the intellectual, proprietary, protection tool here. Inappropriate messages, right? You can wonder how do they train that model, or what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, right? But you can see right there, powered by Copilot. You'll see the rest of them aren't. So that means that there's direct skill or intelligence that's probably resident either in the Copilot for security or the other Copilots. Not all of them have it, right? Powered by Copilot. That makes sense. But information barriers, restrict two-way in collaboration to avoid conflicts of interest. I would not want an AI in its current maturation, regardless of who AI is, to be able to tell me to avoid conflicts of interest. I think artificial intelligence has a huge time understanding conflict of interest, right? Other than its own existence. So when you come down, you'll see not there, not there, not there. Then you see, once again, the data loss prevention under data security. And was it somewhere else? That's just up on the data loss up on here. And you'll see that data security posture management, that DSPM, it's in Purview, powered by Copilot. But you'll notice that information protection, don't see it, right? Because once again, even if you train it, it can look at a subset of variables and know what's a Canadian identification number. I believe that's what you guys call your SSN, right?
No.
Social security number. Those data types and those data iterations are well known. What a passport format looks like. But what if you get something that's a combination of all of those? And I wouldn't want this to overclassify something. Now, this is probably going to be the biggest thing that has me inside of risk, right? Risk is both objective and subjective. So I not play with this. And then you have DSPM for AI, but you also have it DSPM. So we're looking at it over here. One is without AI and one is with. I don't know the difference. So I was hoping that our guest was going to come on. And then we have some other Purview heavies that'll be on next month for Women in Cyber Month.
Women in Cyber Month, March. It's coming.
Next week.
March is coming.
And the most important thing that a lot of products don't do, they don't have a very robust knowledge center. If you're going to have it in here rather than me scouring the interweb, the internet, trying to find relevant information. Now, this is my test lab. I'm hesitant to click on data map to show everything that may be connected to it, but that's a Purview thing. I just wanted to show it out so there's, when people say, Ed, what are you talking about? You can actually go to Purview, .microsoft.com, and if you are enabled, you can do it. This is not part of E5. You have to buy Purview. It is a standalone product, right? It can be bundled with it, but this is not something you get by virtue of you buying E5. It's an E5 add-on, I believe. Don't give me any licensing. That was early when I started doing the show. So hope that's explained a lot about that. Actually, it's powerful. It's a powerful tool. I wish I had time to really, really learn it. But bro, do you spend time in this stuff, right?
I used to.
You too.
Yeah, not recently. But yeah, it's a whole big kit and caboodle. You did a very good job of summarizing.
Ray, do you have to jump into this with Dex? The Purview stuff?
That is beyond the scope of Defender experts as of today.
Ooh.
Oh, well, there we go.
There you go.
Noodle said, I got some links you can click in your lab. Edward. No, I'm not, Noodle. I'm seeing the stuff that you're working on. I'm not clicking on anything in my lab. Trying to get me.
Definitely don't trust Noodle when it comes to zero
not
trust.
At all.
Noodle's at the
top.
top.
Matter of fact, Noodle's going to go on the ban list in MDO. Anything from do not lie here. Click some labs in here. Oh, and we also had right here, spread the word about the Dex webinar. I don't know if you guys already showed it, but we'll put it there again.
Yeah, I dropped that in there. Ray dropped it in our private chat, but ak.ms/Defender Experts webinar. check it out. Tell everybody. Tell your grandparents. Tell your grandkids. Tell everybody.
Tell your neighbor. Tell your pool guy. Even if you don't have a pool, still tell them.
Exactly.
Do that.
Yeah. Write on a piece of paper and plaster on your mailbox so your whole neighborhood knows. Spread the word.
And do it that way. Like that. And but yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed, I guess, to show up. He sent an interesting dossier about what he was going to show. He had his all stuff. I suspect some will go with his lab. While we're doing this, let's go ahead and give a little bit of an update about what we have upcoming. Ray, you want to talk about Women in Cyber Month for us?
Sure. Yes, absolutely. As the resident woman of the show, I'm pleased to pronounce. I'm sorry. I don't want to be presumptuous. Actually, so we have March. It's Women in Cyber Month, and as a way to celebrate, we're going to have not one episode a week, not just 2 episodes for every week in March, but we will have that plus on March 31st, we will have a full day affair, not the bad kind, the good kind, where it's a virtual conference of all of the heavy hitters and industry thought leaders who are also women in cyber. And they're going to be joining us, and they're going to be sharing just their lessons learned, their origin stories, the adversity that they've had to overcome, and what it takes to be successful, and share that motivation and that inspiration that many of us need, irrespective of our gender. So I feel very privileged and honored to be a small part of this extraordinary event. So thank you.
Ray made her espresso with Red Bull today. So she took water, she just poured Red Bull in it and just got at it, right? Started doing it.
Nobody prepped Ray for this. This was like an Edward question at the 50-minute mark of the show, and Ray just crushed it. What a great!
You stay ready. You don't got to get ready. It's all it is what it is. This is what I do.
That's fact. Right there. Hold on. Let me show everybody really quick, because picture's worth 1,002 words based on inflation. So let's go to here. I think that Rod, before you left, put everything out as far as a lot of the correspondence, and leave it up to us not to do proper planning. I did not have the nice little infographic, but we'll get it out to everybody in the show notes. Follow us on the Microsoft Security Insights Show LinkedIn, as well as follow our podcast and the various channels. I think a lot of them are linked directly to a lot of Rod's direct social and personal media. One thing we got to do is get the rest of us connected. I finally figured that out, so that when we post the show, it's so easy that we get Ray, we get yours and Brody's, all your social outlets, and so when we post the show, it'll just post to your stuff now. It'll automatically take, like we're posting to all of our official things. I figured that out today. I was like, oh man, that's pretty cool. It's a one thing now. So we can post directly to your LinkedIn profile, or if you have a LinkedIn group or page, we can post to that. So anything. So we'll gather information to get it out. So all the platforms are actually coming up.
You can do that? Man.
Sure enough, if you get down into the nuts and bolts, it's amazing what Rod didn't tell us. Now we know now.
What I thought you were bringing up in that long-winded how to post things on the internet speech was like the actual page. Here, let's pull it up here. Share screen, share window. Perfect. Here we go on microsoftSecurityInsights.com/p/women-in-cybersecurity-month-caps. You can learn more all about the Women in Cyber Month. I'm dropping that link in the chat now. Rod Trent, resident blogger and internet poster extraordinaire, has outlined everything that you can see here with regards to our schedule. Oh, no, I definitely don't want to subscribe, Rod. Nice try.
No, absolutely
definitely don't want to subscribe. We've got our program schedule here, as Ray alluded to. We are working in triple overtime capacity. We've got all the different shows, a couple TBD slots that we're looking to fill, but don't worry, they're going to be awesome. So if you want to learn more and build on the amazing impromptu intro that Ray just did, check it out. All of the guests that are currently announced are on here, and we'd love it if you'd spread the word as well. Tell your neighbors, tell your pool boy if you don't have a pool. Tell
goodness!
Tell your grandma, grandpa, grandkids.
Tell your
tell your
dog walker,
butcher.
if you got a cat, you know.
I love how all of these examples are super privileged. Like
Oh,
so you have a
yeah.
pool,
Excuse me.
you have your dog walker.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
apologize. Tell your grass cutter. If
No,
you have
that's
grass.
still very that I'm not trying to be annoying, but I will say that this is just a small fraction of all the extraordinary women that are kicking butt in the industry today. If folks have nominations for the high-powered ladies who are just making magic happen in cyber, please share them with us because if we don't have space within the roster or the programming for March, and yes, March is the dedicated month for Women in Cyber Month, we would love to have them on the show regardless. This is, again, just a small sliver of all of the women that make it possible to defend across the globe.
Yeah. And what Brody is sharing is the the grand finale of the entire month. That is not the actual inline weekly shows. This is going to be something that we've never done before, where we have this like live webinar, and it's in conjunction with Microsoft Reactor. We did something with Microsoft Reactor maybe last year, where we came in and did maybe a couple of months where we talked security to the audience that Microsoft Reactor is geared toward, which is primarily developers. But we had such a great relationship when Rob reached out and said, "Hey, we have an idea. We want to do this." They were all over it. So they were like, "Hey, let's do it." So we do have a TBA. I think we're just switching around a little bit of scheduling. But if you have a woman that is participating in the cybersecurity industry and you would like to nominate that particular person to come on to either jump on the end of the Cyber Month, grand finale, please submit that person. Reach out to us, drop their LinkedIn profile link, and so we can do it and make a soft introduction. Things work so much better when someone introduces us rather than a cold call, because now they have to go out and look at the research and do all the pages. And sometimes that's a little bit unnerving. We've reached out to guests, and everybody's really cognizant of their brand these days. So nobody wants to sort of get on. But if we get an introduction for someone, that really helps us out to be able to do it. The other things we got going on in the 4 minutes we have in the show. So let's give a little bit of an outline. Once again, the old man goes to the specs and see what we're doing in upcoming months. Where's that piece of paper? I got a piece of paper.
Got a sticky note there, Grant?
So, potential themes for the rest of the year for the show. We are going to have Partner Month. We have not chosen the type of partner we wanted to showcase. Last year, we showcased partners that had a huge security and let me get it right. Security Copilot interest. We'll see, right? We're also going to push that off from traditionally being in April. We're going to do it in May. What we're going to do this year is have an entire month of what we're calling tech heavy. All the guests will be tech heavy. You won't get the benefit of hearing Ray and Brody and and Rodney's lovely voice. You'll get 4 minutes, 5 minutes of it, and they're going to go into demos. It's going to be an entire month of show what you know.
It's going to be so
demos,
heavy.
live, and we're going to find really in depth to go in. Noodle, you fancy yourself a tech heavy person. Maybe it's your time to showcase your stuff.
And Noodle, time to step up.
Go to 11. We're going to take it to 11, which is one higher than 10.
Yes, it surely is.
So heavy.
So we're going to have Partner Month. We're going to have Tech Heavy. And then Rod and I were sitting around here talking one day, and he showed something on this thing, and it made me go through mine. We want to hear about your certification experience. We want to know how you got there. We want to see.
Such a downer after Tech Heavy. And then we want to learn about some tests you wrote.
I want to see your certs, because Rod showed me old MCSE stuff, right?
Yeah, I want to see your certs. Are you going to take me out to dinner first?
No.
Yes.
How is this appropriate?
Talk about certification.
Hey, did you see the information protection appropriate? You see how it blinked?
Yeah.
I captured that. We got you on record, Brody. Yeah.
Okay, Edward.
Yeah.
Maybe by Cert Heavy Month, you'll have a SANS.
That should be the next T-shirt.
right?
I want to see your certs.
Just your certs. Yeah.
That's the title. Show me your certs.
Show me your certs. That's the title of the month.
Man,
This is why we can never be officially sponsored by Microsoft. Right here.
Yeah, we'll never get sponsored now. But we just want to give people funny stories. Yeah. Why'd you go? Why? Because you remember for a while, the certification was the standard to measure, supposedly measures your skill set. These days, I think it does in a way, but I think it more, to me, showcases your prioritization when you spend time to be able to go take these certifications, right? Because you having a certification doesn't make you bad, nothing like that. Unless you get a certain few. Like Sergey, who was on the show last time, yeah, he's a bad. Because all his offensive certifications are not easy. They're harder than the SAN certification. They just are. You don't get to fake it. You get in that lab and someone's sitting on the other end, and I think they haze you while you're doing it. Yeah, you got 30 minutes left. Man, you're not even halfway done. You need to get going.
They shit talk you in your last 30 minutes of the cert. That would be even more intense. Yeah.
Franklin, co-creator of this show and friend of the show, he has a lot of those offensive certifications. Very hard. So I'm going to give it another shot. I didn't pass the Forensics 508, but I learned a lot. Still using it to this day. I think I took it lightly, and I don't have time to spend more money on those certification costs. Even at a retry, when they give you a discount, there's still got to be $600. I ain't got it. I mean, Ray may have it. I mean, she got all the fancy memorabilia in the back and high ends. I ain't got it. So we'll see. But I want to hear about
This is from childhood. This is just how sad and nerdy I've lived my life. I didn't go anywhere I only started traveling in 2022 after I had radiation on my brain. So don't give me any kind of crapola here. And this is true blue from what I had no friends. These are my friends. This is my materialistic and my tchotchkes and like the things that make me feel safe, which is like sci-fi and nonsense. So,
and you guys see, Ray has no friends. So we're taking the fun of to get some race, some friends, and me too. I've been told I am very old and cantankerous now.
Cantankerous.
I just have to represent for my trolls. That's all. And I got my Mortal Kombat bookends, and I got my T800 book. These are things. This is my life. Which is
what Mortal Kombat bookends do you have? I mean,
Mortal Kombat.
No, I have like Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Like, don't start with me. Like, this is
Mortal Kombat stuff.
Bring them on the screen. Can you see? Can I bring them on? Bring them on. Yeah.
So we're gonna have the certification month, and then we're gonna ask everybody to bring a picture of their cert, and even if you spill coffee on it or have like drink ring. Oh man, look at that.
Yes. Get over here. Yes.
Oh, those are sick.
Yeah.
That is Scorpion versus Sub-Zero.
Show the front
That's what I just said. Thank you. Like,
hold up. Yeah.
Well, give me one moment because I'm also like a troll, so I have like little limbs. Okay.
You do one at a time. Okay.
What
Can you do that?
Show and tell.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to see the.
This is.
Oh, that's sick. Okay.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's.
Shouldn't I be married? I think so.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, now we got. Okay, now we're Scorpion. Okay, to show the other side of Scorpion.
Yeah.
Keep going. I haven't seen the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. That is cool.
There you go.
Super cool.
What we would also like from our
nice
our listeners, supporters, and viewers, give an idea of what you like a month theme about. So we got certifications. Show me your certs.
Show me your certs.
Oh my God.
We got women in cyber.
We got tech cover.
And we have partner month. So that still leaves us, a few months to come in. We want a listener theme month. Send your suggestions in. Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure our listeners get an opportunity to participate. If you want to come on and be a guest host, come on. Right? I want to be able to take vacation like Rod and go away.
You can take a vacation anytime, for the record. You don't have to get a guest host. We can handle it, Red.
Really?
You deserve a vacation.
I deserve a vacation.
You deserve it. But how about?
Oh my God, are we actually getting babysat? Is that what it is? Look at me, you're broken. They're like,
Ray and I crushed that one show that we were the only hosts on. It was hilarious. But like, okay, Edward, what about like a guest appreciation month or a listener viewer appreciation month? And then we bring them
that would be great.
We have to show their stuff like Noodle.
Yes.
What we need to do though, we really need to start planning our Christmas month way in advance. I think this year we waited a little bit late and everybody was like on Christmas vacation. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, weird.
I want us to really have and the Halloween one.
A Halloween month?
Halloween.
The whole Halloween theme month.
Sure. The whole month, Halloween themed security. Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, we do that right there. So, well, everyone, thanks so much for coming on the show. Sorry that I guessed. Evidently, he had some things that sort of disrupted him personally. I did get a little blurb on LinkedIn. He apologized profusely. We'll get it rescheduled. I get it. Take care of your life. Take care of all these things. I'd like to thank our listeners. We'll get back with you next week. We start the official Women in Cyber Month. I'm excited about it. This is the third year running. We're going to have some fresh new faces. We may have some guests pop in, some surprise cameos. We'll get going. It is Women in Cyber Month. That means Ray's in charge, as she's always been.
Thank you for the month. Thank
you
for empowering me during the month.
We all have it.
No pressure, Ray.
And
is the first Women in Cyber at 10 a.m. Eastern on Monday? Is that right? That's what I see on my calendar.
Yes.
Famke?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
She's a big deal to have on the show. First of all,
I'm just double checking my calendars right.
I was you better be very appreciative and properly reverent of.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I put a clean shirt on. You
I won't be dressed. I promise.
I'm
just double checking for Monday. What's going on?
You're going to show us your certs, and then we'll be taken off the air.
It's actually pretty funny though.
So in closing, on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, we have Femke.
I thought it was Famke, but we are going. Obviously, I'm going to defer. Let's see if she has it on LinkedIn and the how to pronounce my name. If you're a clumsy American, so I'm sorry.
I can't do it because for a whole year, all Brody and Rod did was make fun of me not being able to pronounce people's names. That was a whole year's theme. I could get nobody's name right.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and she is Chief Copilot, Microsoft MVP.
She's everything. She's literally all the things. She's technical. She's a creative, just brilliant content creator. All the things.
That's amazing. I'm looking forward to this on Monday.
Now you're looking forward to it.
I'm always looking forward to it. I'm setting this up because we're communicating to our guests and viewers, right? I'm looking forward to this, and you should too. Guests and viewers on Monday, March 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern. Don't miss it on the next episode of Microsoft Security Insights podcast show. Podshowcast.
I know, right? I do. So, with that being said, thanks everyone. I was about to say same time next week. Obviously, that's not true, as Brody and Ray said. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please tune in for our first episode of Women in Cyber. We really appreciate everybody taking time out your schedule, having fun. With that being said, peace and hair grease. Views hair.
Take care of those certs. Wrap them up when it's cold.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yep. About to go pull my certs out right now. See everybody.
Bye.
Bye.